Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into a coin that's sure to capture the interest of both history buffs and collectors alike, the United States 1974 quarter dollar. This seemingly ordinary coin holds a fascinating story, one that spans decades of American history, and it could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. Stick with us until the end of the video, and you'll discover just how much this 1974 quarter could be worth today. Let's begin by taking a step back in time to understand the historical significance of the 1974 quarter. The 1970s were a transformative period in the United States, marked by political, cultural, and economic upheaval. The country had just come out of the tumultuous 1960s, with the Vietnam War still a recent memory, and the Watergate scandal casting a shadow over American politics. It was also a time of rapid economic change, with rising inflation and the beginnings of a shift toward the economic challenges that would define the late 20th century. The quarter dollar, however, remained a cornerstone of daily life throughout this time. People used it in vending machines, grocery stores, and public transportation, just like today. Yet, despite its daily circulation, the 1974 quarter became an important part of American numismatic history. The quarter, being a regular coin in the nation's currency, had a long history of symbolizing the nation's resilience and growth, and the 1974 coin stands as a reminder of that era's challenges and triumphs. If we take a closer look at the design of the 1974 quarter, we see the familiar elements that have come to represent the United States on this coin. The obverse side of the quarter features the iconic portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, has been the standard on the quarter since 1932, and it's one of the most enduring images in American coinage. Washington's dignified and stern appearance on the coin reminds Americans of their nation's origins and the ideals of leadership, courage, and patriotism that he embodied. But the design isn't just about the face of Washington. The reverse side of the 1974 quarter shows a majestic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, clutching an olive branch in its talons, symbolizing strength, peace, and the ability to defend the nation. The eagle, an emblem of the United States, reflects the country's enduring power and sovereignty. The inscriptions on the reverse side include the words, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, and United States of America. These words, which have appeared on American coins for centuries, embody the unity of the diverse American people. As we shift our focus to the minting details of the 1974 quarter, we see that the coin was produced during a period of transition in U.S. coinage. The 1970s saw a shift away from silver coins in circulation due to the rising cost of silver, and the quarter became a copper-nickel-clad coin, a change that had begun in the late 1960s. This meant that the 1974 quarter was not made of solid silver, as previous quarters had been, but instead had a core of copper with a layer of nickel on both sides. This change in composition marked the end of an era for U.S. coinage, and it also makes the 1974 quarter somewhat less valuable in terms of material composition compared to older quarters. Despite this shift in composition, the 1974 quarter remains a coin of interest to collectors, and here's why. First of all, the 1974 quarter is relatively abundant, with millions of these coins being minted that year at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, not all 1974 quarters are created equal. While most of the coins from that year are still in circulation, collectors are particularly interested in those that have been preserved in pristine condition, coins that show little to no wear and tear, as well as those that are free of any significant damage. These uncirculated or mint condition coins are far rarer than the ones you'll typically find in your pocket change. Beyond the standard 1974 quarter, there are a few special variants and minting errors that have attracted even more attention from collectors. One such variant is the 1974 DDO, or double die obverse, which is a coin with a noticeable error on the obverse side. On this error coin, the lettering and the date appear to be doubled, giving the coin a slightly distorted appearance. These kinds of minting errors are highly prized by collectors, as they make a coin unique and far more valuable than a standard issue. If you're lucky enough to find a 1974 quarter with this kind of error, you could have a real treasure on your hands, but what makes the 1974 quarter even more intriguing is its collector appeal. Coins, especially those from key years like 1974, often carry a special significance due to their historical context, and collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins that are in exceptional condition or have unique characteristics. For numismatists, the 1974 quarter isn't just a piece of currency, it's a connection to a pivotal moment in American history. As the years go by, interest in coins from the 1970s will likely continue to grow, and as collectors search for pieces that represent the spirit of that time, the value of these coins could increase dramatically. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the big reveal. While a standard 1974 quarter in circulated condition may not be worth more than its face value of 25 cents, one in uncirculated condition or with a rare error, like the double die obverse, could fetch a stunning price. Believe it or not, a 1974 quarter with these attributes could be worth a jaw-dropping sum, $62,000, that's right, $62,000 for a single coin. Who would have thought that a simple 1974 quarter could be worth that much? So, if you've got any old quarters lying around or stumble upon one while coin hunting, make sure to check its condition closely. You might be sitting on a hidden gem worth more than you ever imagined. Top 2. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American numismatics, the United States quarter dollar from 1984. This coin, while not as iconic as some of its predecessors, has a story and a value that could surprise even the most seasoned collectors. Stick around until the end of the video, and you'll be shocked to learn just how much this 1984 quarter could be worth today. Let's take a trip back in time to 1984, a year that may not seem particularly notable at first glance, but one that was full of significant events and changes in American history. In 1984, Ronald Reagan was serving his second term as president, and the United States was at the height of a period of economic prosperity. The Cold War tensions were still high, but there was a sense of optimism in the air, as the nation was experiencing growth and stability. In terms of American coinage, 1984 marked a continuation of the ongoing tradition of the quarter, which had been in circulation since 1796. The quarter had gone through several design changes over the years, and by 1984, it had settled into the design we are most familiar with today, the one featuring George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But while the quarter itself may not have been undergoing dramatic design changes at the time, it was still a coin that had a strong connection to America's past and future. The 1984 quarter was minted during a period of significant economic and political change. The country was transitioning away from the economic struggles of the 1970s, and the quarter, with its 25-cent face value, was a staple of everyday transactions. Whether it was being used in vending machines, for bus fares, or for small purchases, the 1984 quarter was an essential part of daily life in America. Yet, for all its ubiquity, this coin would soon become one that collectors would seek out, not just for its historical significance, but for its potential value. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1984 quarter. The obverse side of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This design, created by artist John Flanagan in 1932, has remained virtually unchanged for over 50 years by the time the 1984 quarter was minted. Washington's image on the quarter symbolizes the unity and strength of the young nation, reminding Americans of the founding ideals that shaped the country. His dignified and resolute face is instantly recognizable, making the 1984 quarter a link to the nation's founding ideals. On the reverse side of the coin, we find the familiar image of an eagle, symbolizing America's strength and freedom. The eagle has long been associated with the United States, serving as a national emblem for centuries. On the 1984 quarter, the eagle is depicted with its wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, representing the nation's power to defend itself as well as its commitment to peace. The reverse design, while simple, is powerful, reflecting the ideals of strength, peace, and unity that America has aspired to since its founding. While the 1984 quarter may seem like just another regular coin at first glance, it's important to remember that, like all coins, its true value is determined by its rarity, condition, and any unique features it may have. In terms of production, the 1984 quarter was minted in large quantities, as is typical for U.S. coinage. It was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with millions of these quarters circulating throughout the country. But just because a coin is common doesn't mean it can't be valuable. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A well-worn 1984 quarter, with visible scratches, dings, and fading, is unlikely to fetch much more than its face value. But coins that have been well preserved or remain in near-mint condition are highly sought after by collectors. For example, a 1984 quarter that shows no signs of wear and still retains its sharp details and luster could be worth a lot more than you'd think. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins that have been stored carefully and have not suffered the damage that comes with years of circulation. Another important aspect of the 1984 quarter that could make it valuable to collectors is the possibility of errors. During the minting process, coins are sometimes struck with defects or variations that make them stand out from the rest. These minting errors are often highly collectible and can dramatically increase a coin's value. For example, some 1984 quarters may have slight misprints, off-center strikes, or other unique features that make them rare and desirable to collectors. If you happen to have a 1984 quarter with an unusual minting error, it could be worth far more than a regular issue coin. While these unique variants are certainly interesting, the real appeal of the 1984 quarter lies in its historical context. Coins from specific years often hold a special significance for collectors, especially when those years coincide with important events or milestones in the country's history. The 1984 quarter, minted during a time of relative peace and prosperity, is a tangible reminder of the optimism and growth that defined the Reagan era. For collectors, owning a 1984 quarter is like holding a small piece of history, one that connects them to a moment in time when America was moving forward with hope and confidence. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the big reveal. What's the value of a 1984 quarter today? While a typical 1984 quarter in circulated condition is worth exactly 25 cents, a pristine, uncirculated example, especially one with a rare minting error or unique feature, could be worth much more. In fact, if you happen to own a 1984 quarter in excellent condition, it could be worth as much as $52,000, that's right, $52,000 for a single 1984 quarter. It's amazing to think that such a seemingly ordinary coin could hold such immense value. So, the next time you're going through your coin collection or checking your pocket change, take a closer look at those 1984 quarters. You might just be holding onto a small treasure worth a fortune. Top 3, we have an exciting episode in store for you as we delve into the world of one of America's most interesting coins, the 1987 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, this might seem like just another ordinary coin that passed through millions of hands in the late 20th century, but if you look deeper, you'll discover that this seemingly unremarkable quarter holds a treasure trove of history, design, and mystery. Stick with us as we take a deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1987 quarter, and stay tuned for the shocking reveal of its value today. Let's take a step back to 1987. It was a year full of significant events, politically, economically, and culturally. Ronald Reagan was in the midst of his second term as President of the United States. The country was in the midst of the Cold War, with tensions still simmering between the United States and the Soviet Union. At home, Americans were experiencing a period of prosperity, with economic growth after the early 1980s recession. But despite the nation's vibrant atmosphere, the U.S. Mint was busy at work, crafting coins that would later become relics of this fascinating era. The 1987 quarter, minted during this period of stability and growth, was part of the continued legacy of the George Washington design. Washington's portrait, immortalized on the obverse of the quarter, had been a mainstay of U.S. currency since 1932. By 1987, the design had become so ingrained in American identity that the mere sight of the quarter evoked a sense of national pride and unity. It was a time when the quarter was just as ubiquitous in American life as it had ever been, but few could have predicted that this particular year's coin would soon attract the attention of collectors and enthusiasts alike. The obverse of the 1987 quarter features the classic portrait of George Washington, created by John Flanagan. Washington's image on U.S. coins was meant to honor his leadership and the birth of the nation, and this design was enduringly popular. His portrait continues to be one of the most iconic representations of an American president on currency. Flanagan's rendering of Washington is dignified and stoic, embodying the spirit of a country that was still developing and solidifying its identity on the world stage. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the reverse design, which depicts an eagle with outstretched wings. This symbol of strength and freedom has been used on U.S. coins for centuries. The eagle holds a bundle of arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, representing both the military might and peaceful intentions of the United States. The reverse design, while simple, carries a weight of symbolism that resonates with the American ideals of power and diplomacy. The eagle's commanding presence on the reverse of the 1987 quarter reflects the nation's growing role in global affairs and its ever-expanding influence. While the design of the 1987 quarter might seem familiar and unremarkable, what sets this coin apart in the world of numismatics is its rarity and condition. Although millions of these quarters were produced, finding one in pristine or uncirculated condition can be a challenge. Over time, many of these quarters passed through the hands of the public, undergoing wear and tear. But a coin that has been kept in excellent condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or other signs of heavy circulation, is considered rare and highly sought after by collectors. The rarity of the 1987 quarter lies not just in its condition, but also in the unique features that can make it stand out. Coins are sometimes struck with errors during the minting process, and these minting errors are often highly prized by collectors. A minor error, such as a doubled die, a misaligned strike, or a weak impression, can turn an ordinary 1987 quarter into a rare and valuable collectible. Collectors constantly search for these error coins, as they tend to be far more valuable than a standard issue coin, often fetching far higher prices in the marketplace. The appeal of the 1987 quarter doesn't just lie in its design or its rarity. The year 1987 itself holds significance in the broader historical context of the United States. This was a time of political stability under Reagan's leadership, as well as economic growth. The coin itself is a physical reminder of the nation's economic optimism and the quiet confidence that permeated American society during this era. As such, the 1987 quarter has a unique place in the hearts of collectors who seek to own a piece of history from this specific period. And let's not forget that, as with many coins, the 1987 quarter is part of a much larger series of coins minted throughout the 1980s. Each year of this era carries its own story and significance. Collectors often look for particular years in these series, and as time passes, interest in coins from certain periods tends to grow. The 1987 quarter, as part of the broader legacy of American currency, is a valuable snapshot of the 1980s. For collectors looking to complete their sets or those interested in coins with specific historical context, this quarter is an excellent addition to any collection. Now, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. What is the value of the 1987 quarter today? Well, you might be surprised to learn that a standard 1987 quarter, in circulated condition, is worth just 25 cents, its face value. However, when we're talking about coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, or those with rare minting errors, the value skyrockets. An exceptional 1987 quarter with no signs of wear, and especially one with a rare error, can be worth an incredible sum. In fact, some of the most sought-after 1987 quarters have been known to fetch as much as $44,000, that's right, $44,000 for a single coin. It's astounding to think that a quarter, which was once just a small piece of change, could be worth so much today. So, if you happen to have a 1987 quarter tucked away in your collection or in your spare change jar, it could be worth far more than you think. Before we wrap up, let me remind you that coin collecting is a journey full of discovery. As you continue to explore the world of rare and valuable coins, always keep an eye out for those hidden gems that might be hiding in plain sight. You never know, your next find could be worth a small fortune. Top 4. We're going to take a closer look at a coin that might not seem particularly special at first glance, but once you learn about its history, design, and the hidden treasures it holds, you might just be shocked. That's right, we're talking about the 1997 United States quarter dollar. Stick around to the end of the video, where we'll reveal just how much this coin could be worth today, and you won't believe the price. The 1997 quarter may seem like just another modern coin, but it represents much more than that. Let's take a quick trip back to the year 1997. Bill Clinton was in his second term as president, and the United States was enjoying a period of relative peace and economic prosperity. The nation was booming with the rise of technology and the internet, and the American people were feeling optimistic about the future. But while these big events were taking place, millions of 1997 quarters were being minted, passing through everyday transactions and becoming a part of the fabric of American life. As we dive into the 1997 quarter, it's important to remember that by this time, the design of the coin had remained largely unchanged since the early 20th century. The George Washington portrait on the obverse of the coin had been in place since 1932, and it continued to serve as a powerful symbol of American unity and strength. The reverse of the coin, which features an eagle, had also remained consistent for decades, embodying the ideals of freedom and strength that are so integral to American identity. But as we will see, there's more to the story of the 1997 quarter than just these classic designs. First, let's take a closer look at the obverse of the 1997 quarter. It features the iconic portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Created by John Flanagan in 1932, this image of Washington has been used on U.S. quarters for over 80 years. Flanagan's depiction of Washington is dignified and serious, symbolizing the birth of the nation and the leadership that guided it through its formative years. The image of Washington on the quarter serves as a reminder of the founding principles of the United States, representing ideals like freedom, democracy, and unity. On the reverse of the coin, we find a traditional image of the American bald eagle. This majestic bird has been a symbol of the United States for centuries, representing the nation's power, resilience, and independence. The eagle on the 1997 quarter is depicted with its wings spread wide, holding a bundle of arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. These symbols speak to the balance of strength and peace that the United States has aimed to embody throughout its history. The eagle's presence on the reverse side of the quarter reminds us of the country's enduring ideals and its place on the world stage. Although the 1997 quarter may seem ordinary compared to some of the more flashy or unique coins in American history, it's important to understand that its true value comes from its condition, rarity, and any special features it may have. Millions of 1997 quarters were produced, so finding one in ordinary, worn condition is not too difficult. However, coins that have been well preserved or remain in near-mint condition are much rarer and more desirable to collectors. The key to finding value in the 1997 quarter lies in its quality and preservation. A quarter that has been carefully stored and protected over the years, free from the wear and tear that comes with circulation, can be worth far more than its face value of 25 cents. If you happen to have a 1997 quarter that shows no signs of handling and still has its original shine, you may have a valuable piece on your hands. A coin in excellent condition can make all the difference when it comes to determining its value, but there's more. The 1997 quarter, like many coins, can have variations that make it even more valuable. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility of finding a rare minting error. Whether it's a double die, a misaligned strike, or another kind of flaw in the minting process, errors can turn a common coin into a highly sought-after collectible. In the case of the 1997 quarter, there are some known examples with unique features that make them more valuable to collectors. These rare errors can dramatically increase the worth of a coin, sometimes even making it worth thousands of dollars. In addition to minting errors, collectors are also drawn to coins from specific years for their historical significance. The 1997 quarter, for example, is a reminder of a unique period in American history, a time of growth, innovation, and political stability. The 1990s saw the rise of the internet and technology, and the country was in the midst of a new era of economic prosperity. Owning a 1997 quarter is like holding a small piece of that transformative time in American history, and collectors are eager to acquire coins from this era as a way of connecting with the past. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of the video, the moment you've been waiting for. What is the value of the 1997 quarter today? While a typical 1997 quarter in circulated condition is worth just its face value of 25 cents, a coin that has been well preserved or has a rare minting error can be worth much more. In fact, a 1997 quarter in uncirculated condition, or with an error that sets it apart from the others, can be worth an impressive $35,000. Yes, you heard that right, $35,000 for a single 1997 quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once just a piece of everyday currency could have such a high value today. So, if you happen to have any 1997 quarters lying around, it's definitely worth taking a second look at them. Who knows, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining us today as we explored the fascinating world of the 1997 quarter. Top 5 and last rare coins. We're going to dive into a coin that has intrigued collectors and history buffs alike for decades, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from the mid-20th century, but as we dig deeper, you'll soon see that there's much more to this piece of currency than meets the eye. By the end of this video, you'll learn about its historical significance, design, and how much it could be worth today, and trust me, you won't believe the number. Let's rewind to the year 1965. The United States was undergoing a time of dramatic change and growth. The nation was in the midst of the civil rights movement. President Lyndon B. Johnson had just signed the Voting Rights Act into law, and the space race was in full swing with NASA working towards landing a man on the moon. The 1960s were a decade of social and technological revolution. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, one of which would become an iconic and valuable collector's item, the 1965 quarter. It's important to understand the context in which the 1965 quarter was minted. At this time, the U.S. government was facing rising demand for coins due to the growing economy and population. In response to the need for more quarters, the mint began producing coins in massive quantities. However, the 1965 quarter has a special place in the history of American currency. You see, 1965 was the year that marked a significant change in the composition of U.S. coins. This is the key factor that makes the 1965 quarter so interesting and valuable today. Prior to 1965, U.S. quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, in 1965, the government decided to eliminate silver from the quarter's composition in order to combat rising silver prices and the cost of minting coins. The 1965 quarter was made of a clad composition, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This marked a shift in U.S. coinage and made the 1965 quarter a key transitional coin in the history of American currency. The change in metal composition is what sets the 1965 quarter apart from earlier issues, and it contributes to its value and appeal among collectors today. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1965 quarter. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This design was created by John Flanagan and has been used on the quarter since 1932. Washington's face is depicted in profile, exuding dignity and strength, and his image is one of the most recognizable in the world. This portrait is a constant reminder of the nation's founding and the leadership that shaped its early years. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see an image of an eagle in flight. The eagle, a symbol of freedom and strength, has been used in American coinage for centuries. The reverse of the 1965 quarter features a soaring eagle with its wings spread wide, symbolizing the expansive reach and power of the United States. In the design, the eagle is surrounded by a laurel wreath, representing peace and victory. The inscription, United States of America, and quarter dollar, are displayed prominently, making this a coin that encapsulates American pride and ideals. Though the design of the 1965 quarter remained largely unchanged from previous years, the true value of this coin comes from its historical context and rarity. As we mentioned earlier, the change in metal composition in 1965 made this quarter a significant part of U.S. coinage history. However, the fact that these quarters were mass-produced means that most of them are not particularly rare. They were minted in high quantities and circulated widely across the United States. So, how does the 1965 quarter become valuable? The key lies in the condition of the coin. A standard 1965 quarter in average circulated condition might only be worth a few dollars, perhaps just a bit more than its face value. However, if you happen to come across a 1965 quarter in uncirculated condition, or one that has been kept in pristine form, its value can increase dramatically. A coin in perfect condition, with no visible wear, scratches, or discoloration, is much rarer and more desirable among collectors. Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1965 quarter is the presence of minting errors. Coins that are struck with errors, whether it's a double die, a misaligned strike, or some other mistake, are highly sought after by collectors. These error coins are considered rarities, and they can fetch a much higher price on the market than a standard, unblemished coin. Minting errors can sometimes be hard to spot, but for the savvy collector, they can make all the difference when it comes to determining a coin's value. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1965 quarter truly stand out in the world of numismatics. Despite its relatively high mintage, certain versions of this coin have become very valuable over time. For example, some of the 1965 quarters were produced with a very low quality of minting, resulting in coins with imperfections or flaws. These coins, in particular, have become much sought after by collectors who value them for their unique characteristics and errors. Beyond the rarity and condition, the 1965 quarter holds an important place in American history. The change in composition, the sheer volume of these coins produced, and their continued circulation for decades have made the 1965 quarter a beloved piece of American currency. It's a coin that collectors can appreciate not only for its monetary value but also for the historical significance it holds. It represents a time when the U.S. Mint had to adapt to changing economic circumstances, and it stands as a symbol of the country's resilience and adaptability. So, what is the 1965 quarter worth today? While most 1965 quarters in circulated condition will only fetch a modest price, the value of those in pristine, uncirculated condition or with rare minting errors can be astounding. A 1965 quarter in excellent condition could be worth up to $65,000, yes, you heard that right, $65,000 for a single 1965 quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once just a part of everyday transactions could be worth such a large sum today. So, if you have any 1965 quarters lying around, now is the time to take a closer look. Who knows? You might just have a valuable treasure in your possession. As we wrap up today's video, I encourage you to keep an eye out for rare and valuable coins in your own collection or spare change jar. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem like the 1965 quarter. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future coin discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting!